All right, welcome everyone. It's top of the hour. It's 11 o'clock. We are here with the SedonaOffice Query Builder, and we are looking forward to having a great webinar. Just a few things before we get started. I'm going to go ahead and hit back on here so that we can go to webinar. If you want to collapse that out of your way, you've got your arrow to the right that will actually push it out of your way. And then if you have any questions, please go ahead and enter those in. It looks like everybody is actually starting to do that, so we're good to go there. Everybody's seeing the questions and they're getting those answered in there. So wonderful there. All right, so we still have some classes available this calendar year. What we have now is a Central Station Manager course, September 17th and 18th. We are actually right now actively doing our SedonaOffice Bootcamp. So we are very much happy to have all of them. Now, if you would like to register for the Central Station Manager's course, please go to the Bold Group website or contact your salesperson and they will be happy to get you scheduled for that. Next month, we are actually having our SIMS team present again with Sarah, and we are looking forward to her sharing some great insights as well as how to best support the team. This webinar is being recorded and it will be available in Bold U as well as in your email tomorrow. Any documentation that we have will be tied to this webinar and also in Bold U. We do not have any specific documents right now, but as we go along, we'll be adding more documents and they will be available into Bold U in just a few days. If you are not signed up for Bold U, you can go to learn.boldgroup.com to actually become a member. And every company has the ability to have unlimited access for all of their users. Level 1 is going to be to our resource center, and then there are additional paid levels if you are interested in them. All right, so now on to our webinar. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Caitlin Denninger of our SedonaOffice team. Caitlin has worked as a financial analyst in the security and fire alarm industry for many years, where she has spearheaded the conversion from her legacy software to SedonaOffice. After relocating, she joined the Bold Group team as a SedonaOffice trainer and has trained many companies as they transition from their legacy software to SedonaOffice. Thanks for joining us, Caitlin, and the floor is yours, and I'm going to make you the presenter now.
Okay, thank you for having me. Hi, I'm Caitlin Denninger. Like Karen said, I am a software trainer for SedonaOffice here at Bold Group, and I'm excited to show you all about the Customer Query Builder. So let's first start with what is the Query Builder. The Query Builder is a tool that enables users to create custom reports based on your company's data that is stored in your SedonaOffice database. Okay. The Query Builder is a powerful tool and based upon the criteria selected by the user designing the query. We're going to go through a couple of queries during the webinar, and we'll show you how to create these queries and create this list of information. Really important that you guys know that the Query Builders are permission controlled. They're secured with user group permissions within Sedona setup in order to keep your data safe. A user may have access to design queries, but may or may not have the permissions to export or print the results. Keep in mind, if someone has access to the Query Builder, they will have access to your entire customer list and recurring information. Therefore, administrators should think very carefully about possible repercussions prior to granting export and printing permissions to any user group. Okay? How does the Query Builder work? All reports are based on data elements that relate to customers and the data directly related and linked to them. And why would someone want to use the Query Builder? There are many reasons, and throughout my years of working here at for Sedona and for the company I used to work for, I've made so many queries. They've helped me out in so many ways. Some examples are maybe you need to audit data or find information. Maybe you want to create a custom report or gather a group of customers for a marketing initiative. Maybe you want to include or exclude customers in a company rate change. Or maybe you want to create a report for renewal of your recurring. Maybe you would like to send out letters or create labels using the mail merge feature. Or maybe you need to provide a list of sub-accounts to a large master customer. There's a lot of ways that you can create lists and create reports using the Query Builder. Let's review the query screen. I'm going to go to Sedona here, and we'll go to Query, Customer Query, which is what we're going to look at today. There are 5 areas of the Query Builder, and we're going to go over each of them in more detail. It's important to understand the Query Builder structure before attempting to design a query. So let's start with the Field Chooser Query Tree, which is on the left-hand side of the Query Builder here. And that is where you can search for the fields that you would like within your query. You can click on the plus sign of any section and then see a list of fields that are available for you in the query result, which will be in the query result. The next area is going to be the fields to display. And if we come back to the Query Builder, we have our fields to display area here. And as fields are selected from the query tree, they are displayed in the fields to display area and then will be displayed in the query result. The customer number is a default in the fields to display and cannot be removed or deleted. So let's say we want to create a list of active non-recurring customers. We can click on or drag a field over to the fields to display area. So I'm going to include customer name. I can double click and customer status is also now a field to display. Let's look at the next area, which is going to be our filter section. The filter section allows the user to design the query and include or exclude data. So the filter section, you would drag from the main query tree over to the filter section to filter out information and data you may like. In this case, if we want to create a query for active non-recurring customers, we'll take customer status and drag it over to the field area. We're going to keep the relation as equal to, and the criteria we're going to say is ANR, active non-recurring. So far, we have our fields to display, and we filtered out, we're filtering for active non-recurring customers. The next section is order by. And if we go back to Sedona, you'll see the order by section here. Order by lets the user select the order in which the data is being displayed on the finished report. The default is to order by customer number. But say we want to create this list and order by customer name. I can drag from the query tree over to order by customer name. The next area is the query result. That's the bottom portion of the Query Builder. And if we click on the green arrow in the bottom left-hand corner, we can retrieve our results. It is important to review your results carefully, especially when you're first creating queries. Since the Query Builder gathers data, depending on which tables you use, you may have duplicates. So you want to look at the results in more detail here. So as you can see, when I click on the green arrow, I have a list now of my active non-recurring customers. So what do we do with the results? If we go back to Sedona, there's a lot of different things you can do with the results. If you wanted to look further into a customer, we can double click on a customer, and that will bring us to the Customer Explorer area. And in this case, maybe we want to confirm that they're active non-recurring. So we can go to the recurring and see they do not have any recurring, so they should be part of the list. We'll close back out of the customer. And what else can we do with the results? We can export them to a CSV, which can be opened in Excel if we save the data. So let's say we want to save this. then we can keep export the Excel report for later use. We can preview to print, and we have the ability to print in portrait or landscape our query results. So we could go to print and close. We can also PDF or put this print preview into Excel. We have the ability to save the query, which is save the top portion of the query builder, the query we created, so we can reopen it and use it another time. So if we click on save, we have the ability to save it, and we will call it active non-recurring customer and click on save. We can clear the results, and if we wanted to use this report in the future to open a saved query, you would come into the query builder and go down to open. When you click on open, you will choose the query that you have saved. This is the one we just saved, and click on open. And here is all the information that we had just saved, and we can rerun to retrieve the results. You can click on the SQL button to see a SQL script that was created from this query builder. And there is a mail merge feature, which is the two blue arrows. If you wanted to mail merge this data into maybe labels or a Word template, you can do that as well. Any questions so far?
So far, let's see, we've got a question about, is there a library of pre-made queries available? They would like to have an inventory aging report.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't think there's a library, but we can look at that together, and I can help after this about that, creating a report. Okay, perfect.
Also, they've got a question about, can you label the query?
Label.
Such as title. Such as title.
When you save the query, or when you export it, you can title it here to what you would like. You do also have the ability to edit the column header, but that doesn't say, that's just so that when you export it, it exports to whatever you would like. So I'm not sure if when you save it, when you export it, at this point you can name it whatever you'd like. Exporting saves the query results, the bottom portion, and saving it saves the top portion. And at that point you can name it whatever you would like. Okay? I hope that answers the question, but if there's more to that question, just let me know.
That's a good start. That's all the questions that we have that are appropriate for this moment, and then we will ask some additional questions later.
Okay, sounds good. So actually, Karen, do you have the poll question available?
Absolutely. Let me get that launched. So your screen's going to change, everyone. And if you wouldn't mind answering, does the query builder build and create a SQL script? Let's see. We're going to give people a couple seconds to actually get their queries in, or their answers in. That's it. Yep. All right. Excellent. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now I'm going to close that poll, and then we're going to, let's see, close the poll. There we go, and then share the results. So Caitlin, it looks like we have 98% said yes, and 2% said no.
And the answer is yes. And here is the SQL button, and you can see the SQL script that was created from your query builder. If you're trying to learn Sedona Sync, this is a great way to just learn the database and learn the fields. Yeah, so it's a great way to create a query builder and then learn the SQL script that the query builder did create. Okay, let's go back here. Let's look at some queries. So the first query I created, case 1, is to confirm successful billing of all cycle invoicing. So I'm going to go back to my SedonaOffice and we'll clear the query that I was working on and we'll create a new query. So say we want to look to make sure that we billed every customer in the month of July, since it's now August and we didn't miss any recurring customers. We'll start with customer number and we can open the plus sign and add customer name. Since we're looking at recurring information, let's go down to the recurring area and open the plus sign to the recurring. And let's add the item code, which is the type of the invoice item for the recurring. And how about we add the monthly amount too? And since we want to make sure that we billed all of our customers for the month of July, I'm going to choose next cycle date. But that should also be a filter. So we can filter to make sure no customer has a next cycle date of July. So I'm going to drag next cycle date over to the filter area here and change the relation. Hold on, let me do that again. Next cycle date, and let's change the relation to between. And then we're going to put July 1st to July 31st. We want to make sure that there are no customers still with the next cycle date in July, since it's August. And then we can run the report by clicking on the green arrow in the bottom left to retrieve our results. As you can see, there are 3 customers that have a next cycle date of July, so we did not run the recurring for them. If we think about this further, we could look into the information to see why. We can double click within the customer and go to the recurring. Double click within the recurring, and I noticed that this recurring has an invoice group number of 1. So maybe we didn't run the cycle invoicing for group 1. I can go back to my query and add that field to the query and rerun the query. So I'm going to double click on recurring group number and then click on the green arrow to refresh my results. I could see all 3 of these customers are recurring group number 1. So possibly I didn't run that cycle invoicing, and now I can go back and run this. So this is a great, simple report to confirm that everyone has been billed and we successfully billed for each period of time. Any questions on this? Let's look at the second.
Yeah, so we're good. There was actually somebody who had posted how to do the date range, so I think that answered their question, but let's just give them just a second to respond just to make sure.
Okay. Yeah, so to do the date range, I changed the relation to between, and I put the 2 dates that I wanted to.
Excellent. Yep, it looks like we were able to answer that question.
Okay, great. I will clear this query, and let's go back and look at case 2. Case 2 is RMR greater than $100. Let's say we want to create a query just to see all of our recurring over $100. I did actually save and create this query, and I want to show you how easy it is to just go to a saved query that you created in the past. We can click on Open. And here is the query I created, RMR greater than 100, and I'll click Open again. You could see on the left-hand side, I chose customer name, the item, and the monthly amount. We're only looking for RMR that is active, so I chose RMR active is equal to Y, yes, and I'm looking for a monthly amount greater than or equal to 100. So I changed my relation to greater than or equal to 100. And I decided to order this query by monthly amount. I can click on the green arrow in the bottom left, and now I have a list of all my customers that have a recurring line that is greater than $100. If I wanted to see the greatest monthly amount first, I can change my order by right-clicking and sort by descending instead of ascending, and re-click on the green refresh button. So now I have the greatest amounts at the top going down here to the least amount to 100. Any questions on this query and using the order by for ascending and descending and the relations, the different relations that there are here?
There was one question that was asking about whether or not you could sort by multiple fields, which I believe you've answered showing your current query. I just want to make sure that that did answer their question. Also, we've just got some feedback on the voice breaking up. I'm clear on my end, but we may have some people who are struggling to hear. So just want to double check on that as well.
Okay. If you need me to do anything, let me know if it's not clear. Okay.
Yep, I think we're okay right now. Also, we've got a question about, can you use a dynamic date range, such as last month, as a start date?
You can use less than or equal to as opposed to between, but no, that you don't have like last month, just typing in last month. So you would still need to put in a date range. But if you don't like between, you could say ends with, starts with, or between, or less than or equal to.
Okay. All right, there's a few questions about RMR, but I believe that you're going to be talking about that on your next example. It's basically how to group by RMR customer, and can you do active RMR by salesperson or residuals?
Yeah, you can add salesperson. So underneath customer, you have customer salesperson. So we can click on customer salesperson here, and it's equal to, and you can choose the salesperson. And let's also double click to include that as a field to display so we could see that. So now I have a list of all my customers who have Going Getter as the salesperson, and this is, in this case, monthly amount greater than $100 active RMR. So you can filter definitely by multiple fields here, and you can add and remove to this report anytime.
Great. I've got another question, and I believe that you just demonstrated this, but just to make sure, do we have just drag and drop the other fields?
Yeah, yes, you can drag and drop. You can drag and drop to the field to display, or you can double click. So I can double click or drag and drop here. And yes, to go to the filter area, you would drag and drop. So let's see, we can drag and drop to the filter area and also to the ordered by. You would drag and drop from the query tree to the ordered by, the filter area, and you can double click or drag and drop to the field to display area.
Okay, perfect. All right, so that's it for what we've got so far on this section, and then we'll be sharing more as we go along.
Okay, sounds great. So let's go back to look at case 3. Case 3 is to confirm customers with bank or credit card auto processing. So I wanted to create a query that looks to confirm all my customers who have auto processing for a bank account or a credit card on file. So I'm going to clear this query and I'll open that one. Auto processing bank or credit card. And what I chose here is I chose customer number, customer name, the bank name, if bank was used for auto processing, card type, and if credit card was used for auto processing. You can find these fields in the EFT area underneath the query tree. If I would like to get both banks used and credit cards used, instead of and, I changed and to or. So if the customer has a bank for auto processing or a credit card on file, they will appear on this list. So that's confirming and or here, and we can click on the green to refresh the results. And you can see I have a list of my customers here that have bank accounts on file for auto processing. I don't have any credit cards on file, but if I did, you would see the credit card information here. I just wanted to show how that or can work. Any questions on this query?
I keep forgetting to unmute myself. All right, let's see. Not specifically on this query. Let's see. Let's see. Let's just find out. I'm just reading real quick. So this is an interesting one, and this, I think I'm going to save it. Robert, I'm going to save your questions until a little bit later in this presentation, because I think Caitlin can sort of speak to it at the appropriate part. So I think we're good on questions right now.
Okay. So I just went over some basic queries, and we looked at some different areas about using end in order, ordering with the ascending and descending, using the different fields to display. These green arrows here will move fields up and down on the fields to display area. And then we have our green arrow here. One section on the left, bottom left, is the RMR as of, and it's going to default as of today. But if you're doing an RMR query and you want to look at RMR, let's say in the past, effective as of a different date, maybe what was the RMR as of January 1st this year, you can change to this date and it will look as of that specific date. So that's a nice way to look at different amounts on different days too. Okay, so we'll clear this query and let's go back here. We reviewed the customer query builder, basic queries, but Sedona does have other queries as well. The general ledger query, accounts payable, sales tax, the parts query builder, and the job query builder. The customer query builder includes service, whereas the job query builder is separate there. And then what query would you like to create? Karen, would you launch the poll question on that?
Absolutely. So let's see, what types of queries would you like to run? I'm going to launch that right now. We'll give everybody a couple seconds to get their answers in. Right now, recurring is the front runner, but looks like job is starting to catch up. It's almost like watching a race. Let's go ahead and give people another 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to close and share our results. So it looks like recurring and jobs are the most popular, and then we have service and GL as our next items.
Okay, great. Very nice. So this
now I do have some, sorry, sorry, before you jump into that, there's a couple questions that came in related to that. So first we have, how do we run a query that shows all critical messages? Is that something that you do have done or have the ability to do?
Yes, that's a good question, really. The critical message information is right here. On critical messages, I'm going to go real quick to a customer just to show you. If you put in an expiration date on a critical message when it's no longer needed, you can query it. But some people just blank out the critical message, delete it out like that, backspace it and hit save, and then you wouldn't be able to query one that you just deleted and changed. So it's really a good idea if the critical message is no longer needed to put an expiration date. It won't pop up anymore, but it is queryable. So if someone was on service hold and you've done that a lot, and you put an expiration date, you can still query off of it. Yeah, but they're right in. They are included within the query builder, so I can definitely help you create the critical message query.
Excellent. All right, we've got another one that said, at the beginning of each month, we need to run a query for birth dates for that respective month.
Birth date. So I'm guessing that is a user-defined field that you have for your customers. Hopefully it is. It has to be somewhere in the software in order to query it. So if you do have a user-defined field for a birthday, you can go into the customer, and I'm guessing it would be a date range. So you can choose the date, custom date 1, if it's underneath the customer. And then you can also come over here and then use the between and put in the between area, let's say for the month of August. Now I don't have any because it's a custom field, but this would be one that you could create. And I can help you with this too. We can look at this together.
Excellent. I think you basically is saying essentially they need to disregard the year and just get the month and day. So I think that's something that we'll have to do a little bit more research on.
Okay, yes, we can look at that in more detail.
Perfect. All right. Let's see. We also have another question. Let me get back up to it. That says, is there a query that will show paid customers for sales residuals on a monthly basis per RMR?
Sales residuals, meaning job. I need a little bit more information on that.
Okay.
Like to just understand exactly what he means, or they mean by sales.
Okay.
If it's a job query, we can look at that too, and we can create a report on that.
Perfect. All right. Let's see. Also, how would I create a query to find customers that had a particular piece of, oh, I already did that one. Let's see. Is there any way to query calculated fields such as total costs within a job?
Total costs. There are reports in Report Manager that have costs, but I'm not sure if we can do total costs, but we can look at costs definitely. If you take their information, I'll get back to them, Karen, and look in more detail on that.
All right, so I'll put that, we're going to do some research and get back to them.
Sure.
All right, let's see. Is it possible to run a last sold report without retrieving any line of transaction in history? So basically it looks like a date kind of field. That's my assumption, is that it's a date where you're like, when was the last time we sold them something? It doesn't matter what.
We have the sold date for a job, but if it's a specific customer, you would have to, I'm not sure if it's for a specific customer or just last sold in general for a job. If it's last sold if it's last sold, you can use the sold date. If it's for a specific customer, you do have to filter out for that specific customer.
Okay. All right, so we'll do a little bit more follow-up with that. Let's see. How about a query that shows tech hours on service tickets for customers with certain service plans?
That's I did pretty much create that one where I used to work, but you do have to probably pull that out into Excel after you create it. You can come in here and definitely look at hours underneath the service tickets, how many hours were there. If you want to pull it out to calculate totals, there is a total feature within the query builder, but if you want to do a lot of totals, you would bring it out into export it to Excel and then go from there to create totals. But yes, I can help with that one too.
Excellent. All right, so we have a few more questions, but they're a little bit more specific that we'll have to follow up on. So that looks like so far it. Yep, no more coming in right now. So let's see, let's see, got a new one. Is there a query that shows when RMR has been paid?
You would have to look at the invoice for paid, not necessarily RMR, but yeah, you can look at the invoice and sort by, let's say, invoice type, cycle invoices, and create a report about when it's paid. Net due would be 0 amount. In here, there has to be a net due would be equal to 0, then you know it's paid. We can look at that again. These are all like specific, so I would want to create them with this person. But yeah, to give you an idea, you can look at that.
Excellent. So those are really good ones, and we will definitely follow up and also post those to Bold U as we go along. Let's see. It looks like we're getting a little bit of clarification. What that customer is asking is correlation between RMR line item to what is actually invoiced and what is paid.
So yeah, we can look at the recurring line. We just have to be cautious about going from one table to the other with duplicates, but I can look in more detail with you at the invoice. You would really want to stay on the invoice line. The invoice, we can look at the invoice item as opposed to going to the recurring line. So if it was a specific invoice item that was a recurring one, you can include that in here. If you use the recurring table and then the invoice table, there are two different areas. The recurring creates the invoice, so you may get some duplicates, but we can definitely look at that and create a report using the invoice item code.
Excellent.
Areas.
All right, perfect. So that looks like it for the questions at this time. If there's any additional questions that come in, as I said, we will follow up with posting it to BoldU as well as sharing it with the group. All right, you ready for the last poll?
Yes, the last poll question.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and launch that real quick. Give everybody a chance to say, do you see yourself using Query Builder now that you have a better understanding? All right, we'll give it a couple more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so it looks like we have a resounding yes and just a very few that are not quite sure yet. So we are more than happy to share that. All right, back to you, Caitlin.
That's great. So this was just basic information about Query Builder, but in Q4, we're coming out with the Query Builder self-paced learning, where we'll expand on this webinar and go into more detail about creating these specific queries that you had questions on and would like to create, and looking at different tables and how to pull the queries out into Excel and create totals and things like that. So I'm looking forward to that and helping everyone. I can also help everyone. I can also work one-on-one with people to create the queries that they're looking to create.
Excellent. All right. So let's see if we've got any more questions. All right. So there's a couple things that I think are going to be a little bit more personalized, so we're going to follow up with them directly. Let's see. One of the things that came up was, can you discuss in more detail the options under relation? We struggle knowing what all the null values mean.
Sure, yeah. Let me clear this query and we'll just look at, let's see, what we'll put in monthly amount. So monthly amount, an amount you would want to use equal to. This is a not equal to. So if you want to say not equal to a certain amount, you can use that. Greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Is null, meaning if there is nothing in that field, or is not null. Starts with, ends with, contains, and between. Between is typically used for date range. The is null, is not null may work in certain areas, you may need to, for dates in particular, if they may have that 12/31, 1899 date. So sometimes I would include not equal to that. So let's see, if we have a cycle and date that is null, we can run the report and see a list. And hold on, let me add cycle and date here and customer name. So really, we just want to find ones that is null, right? Like is null, doesn't have any cycle end date. That means the recurring is going to continue. Or we can say is not null. And then the amounts for ones that are going to continue. So yeah, is null just means that there's nothing in that field. Okay? And is not null means there's something in that field.
Excellent. All right. And if you need a little bit more detail as far as the null values and things like that, we can go into it in a little bit more detail if you'd like to contact Caitlin or our team. The difference between the null and the 1899, 1899 is basically the null date, which thank you, Brad, for providing that. but yes, there is a difference between null and the 1899 date, which is still a null date, but it's just not coming in as null.
Exactly.
All right, so that looks like the bulk of the questions that we can answer while we're on the webinar. Any other ones, as I said, that we have not answered, we will follow up with you on. Oh, just got another one, hold on. Can we use job query to get a list of jobs that are that have outstanding invoices?
Yes, you could definitely create a job query with invoices. We can look at that using the invoice area, and then net due is greater than 0 would be, that means they're outstanding. There's still money owed, so you can create a report on that. I can help you with that too.
Excellent. All right. So I think we are wrapped up on the questions that we're going to be able to cover during this session. And as I said, we will follow up with all of the questions that did not get answered, and we will make sure that you have the answers that you need. If you do want to get either Caitlin or Lisa to help a little bit with more detail, that is something that we'd want to go through our support team to make sure that that gets the appropriate attention it needs. Also, a lot of people were asking about having a library of queries. We're going to see what we can do to get that into BoldView.
Sounds good. I like that. Very nice.
All right. So I'm going to take back over the webinar. Let me just get myself where I can do that. Where is it? Let's see. My webinar is hiding. Let's go back. Let's get back over here. And Bryant, if you are connected, if you wouldn't mind making me the presenter, because apparently I am struggling to get to my GoToWebinar. Let's see. There we go. Never mind. I got it. I've got it.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to show my screen. There we go. All right. So thank you guys very much for taking some time out of your day to learn about the query builder within SedonaOffice. We truly appreciate it. As I mentioned before, our next month's session is going to be with our SIMS team. And so if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about SIMS, you can certainly do that by joining our webinars. We will post all webinars on Bold Talk as well as through our regular communications means. All right, now, just a reminder, we are recording this session. The session will be posted to your email if you registered and attended, or if you just registered. And if you don't get a copy of that, it will be available in BoldView. So once again, thank you guys so much for your time, and we really appreciate all of your attention today. These questions were excellent. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you.